Dark Eros, what is it? What does it heal? Part 8. So we're looking at the steps of giving or receiving an erotic punishment. First step was clear consent. One person is asking and the other person is agreeing. Second step, it's a physical punishment that involves the first chakra, in other words, the bottom. So it's not psychological, it's very visible, it's tangible, you can really feel it, there's no kind of mysterious stuff going on. It's really clear and physical and energetic. The next step was to drop all content, so there's no blame and there's no guilt. The only reason for doing it is to move energy and to look for the pleasure. And the pleasure is, if you like, the fourth step, to allow that release of energy and that movement of energy through the body to be pleasurable in both roles. For the receiver, that means to allow the movement in your body to get out of any passivity, any dead meat, and to allow those sexual movements, beginnings of ecstasy, beginnings of pleasure. And then the catharsis can happen, the purifying can happen. And from the point of view of the giver, it's a little bit more complex. What really gives you pleasure? Does it give you pleasure to hit somebody? Does it give you pleasure to see somebody suffering? Well, if you look deeper, what is the greatest pleasure? The greatest pleasure is in giving pleasure. So if the person who's receiving is using the keys of voice and breath and movement, the sounds that they're making are sounds of pleasure and not sounds of suffering, and the person giving enjoys their power as a creative power to give energy, to give healing, and not pleasure in destroying or pleasure in hurting. And that is, if you like, the biggest step of transformation. I find a creative pleasure in my power to give life, to give healing. And if you do that, you usually get to the point where both people, giver and receiver, feel very close to each other, and you move through the catharsis into a state of intimacy and of love.